So this is about optimizing your profile to make you stand out, to make you become the thought leader in your industry.
Well, your LinkedIn profile, it might be costing you business and you don't even know it. But most business owners, they treat LinkedIn pretty much like a digital resume. And in today's market, you're missing the market. LinkedIn can become a very powerful tool for you to build trust, attract customers, and stand out as a leader in whatever your field is. And as a business owner, that's very important. So what is the big mistake that business owners are making and how are we going to fix it? Well, welcome back to the Business Behind Your Business podcast. I'm your host, Paul Sweeney. You're on the podcast that helps business owners like you build smarter, stronger, and more profitable businesses. And today we're going to look at how you can use LinkedIn to really help you achieve that. So in this episode, we're going to dive into a topic that we know is something that you're listening to that you want to hear about, because we had a lot of engagement on a previous topic where we talked about building personal brands and LinkedIn. And certainly from the feedback we've got, it's something that you want to know more about and you're still not sure. And how do you go about it and how do you make time to do it? Well, the good answer is we're thrilled to have Al Kushner, who's the author of the AI LinkedIn Advantage and founder of LinkedVantage. Al's going to bring us a fresh approach, some very practical perspectives on how to use LinkedIn, not just how to post updates, because we've all seen those, but how do you build a brand that attracts the right people and the opportunities for your business? And that is what LinkedIn really should be about. So we're going to give you some clarity today on what you should be doing, what a personal brand is, why it really matters, what are the practical tips that you need to take on board to really use LinkedIn to the best advantage. And we're going to come up with some AI-powered strategies to help you save time and amplify your presence. So Al Kushner is a LinkedIn strategist, keynote speaker, author of the AI LinkedIn Advantage, and he's been helping business owners and professionals use AI and storytelling to build authentic, high-impact personal brands. And there's a key there, AI used to build authentic personal brands. And through his company, LinkedVantage, Al's helped hundreds of entrepreneurs grow their networks, land speaking gigs, attract new business without spending hours and hours online. So Al, welcome to the Business Behind Your Business podcast.
Thank you, Paul. I look forward to being with you.
Yeah, look, as I said, it's a topic that I think a lot of business owners know they're not using LinkedIn to their advantage. They're not sure how they should move forward. There's a lot of conflicting talk out there, and a lot of them have just said, I don't have time for this. So let's start with the key thing though, is why do we need to make time to build a personal brand on LinkedIn?
Well, very simple, because if you're not doing it, your competition is. And in any situation, you got to be one step ahead. Otherwise, you will be left behind. So you really got to get on the ball to make sure that you are comfortable using AI to help you advance your career.
Yeah.
Or business.
I love that point there, because we often see somebody else doing it, and you mentioned if you're not doing it, your competitors are. And I remember conversations that we've had talking about this, and I know that and I was talking with Carmen Setterino when we're talking about using your voice, public speaking, and to promote your business. And I made the comment that often I'm sitting in the audience thinking, I know this stuff better than the speaker does, but they're the one out there getting all the kudos. They're the one getting all the attention. So if, like you said, if we are not on there, our competitors are. So how do we get over that fact of we're not promoting, we don't have that personal brand being established?
Well, how do you get over it is really to understand that the platform, LinkedIn, is something that probably over 900 million people use it at least. So it is a very huge social media platform that really is going to, people are going to judge you by the profile that you have. And if it's not up to date, if it's really looks not even worked on at all, you're going to get people turning away from what you want to promote or your services, because there's nothing there that noteworthy for someone to take interest in.
So we need to have that profile up to date. So has it replaced the business card or the traditional business card brochure that we used to have, or outlining who we were and what we did?
Yeah, I mean, I think nowadays nobody really uses his business cards if you think about it. A lot of times they're using QR codes, and I use it on my phone, my QR code. And if people want to check me out, they can just go to my phone and, they can scan my QR code, goes right to my LinkedIn profile, and they get all my information. And it's so much more robust than a business card. Think about it. It has a lot more information to be offered. And, this is what the future is. People want a lot more that's being offered on a small piece of paper.
Mm. So 900 million people on LinkedIn, or 900 million profiles. A lot of them, I would say, are not even up to date or haven't been touched in years. But with so many people on there, how do you stand out and get somebody to stop and look at you?
No, very simple. What you do is have a profile that's optimized so that when someone does reach out, in fact, LinkedIn is the search engine, if you think about it, and if they look for certain keywords. So if an employer is looking for employee, they will search on LinkedIn to see about the individual's capabilities. So you need to have a profile that is optimized with certain keywords that are going to be coming up easy for the person to find you. You should have a profile that is usually current and professional headshot, and also a background image, which a lot of people seem to forget, but it's also very important too. They have a background that's pretty plain, but you can do a lot of things with Canva to help to make it more interesting and more lively. So these are just some of the things I share with my book.
I noticed when I did look at your LinkedIn profile, one of the things that struck me was every part of that first impression told me exactly who you are and what you do and how it's going to help me when I look at your profile. You've used every part of that available space to point to the fact that, Al's the guy that's going to help me understand LinkedIn, use it, optimize it, and use it to grow my business.
Yeah, of course. There's so many features that you can take advantage of. And if you want to establish yourself as a thought leader, you want to be make most of the space use in the various sections of LinkedIn. So whether you have an about section, which you do, you should take advantage of putting information in there. If you've written any articles, you should have a way that people access that. If you have case studies, which I do, you should also have a way for people to understand the problems that you solve for others. A whole host of things that you can do by looking at the information on your profile and filling it with value to whoever you're connecting with.
I just want to go back to one thing you mentioned, is that people should be using LinkedIn to search. And I think a lot of us use LinkedIn just as we scroll through the latest updates and check our notifications. But on the other side of LinkedIn, are we missing something by not searching for terms, but also, if we're searching for terms and the wrong things are coming up, or who's coming up when we search, it should be a pointer to what are the things that we should be including in our profile.
Well, there are certain keywords that AI can help you to generate that will attract whoever you're trying to target as of interest. So I work with a lot of accountants and financial planners and insurance agents, and they have certain keywords that come up when people are looking for their services. So this is how I work with them to customize in a way that they will be the first to appear when someone does a search for an accountant or an attorney. These are things that will give them more precedence compared to the competition. So this is about optimizing your profile to make you stand out, to make you become the thought leader in your industry.
So using those AI tools, look, let's dive into it in a bit more detail, because a lot of people don't go ahead and optimize their profile. They don't even touch their LinkedIn. Like you said, you've got outdated information, you got outdated profile pictures, and they're not using the space. A lot of people are saying, I don't have time to do this, but you've found a way to use AI authentically, and I like using that word authentically, to actually create or streamline that process of optimizing LinkedIn. Now, do you share a few ways that you've been able to identify how AI can actually really help a business owner with their LinkedIn profile?
Well, simple. I mean, you can use, let's say, ChatGPT, for example, and create a summary for your about section, about the things that you are known for. There are keywords you can use in your first line that you have. I think you have up to 60 characters you can use and maximize it in a way that is going to be attractive to your target audience. Also, use it to create content, because content is king on LinkedIn. So if you're creating articles, talk about certain pain points that a lot of things that your clients are dealing with, and create articles for that purpose. You can create scripts for videos. Videos are extremely popular on LinkedIn. And by using that, you can find you gain a lot of traction and gain a lot of love from the algorithm, because LinkedIn loves videos. So that also is an opportunity to create scripts for the videos.
So where do we get started? I think that's one of the other things is that we'll dabble into AI and we don't understand the right approach or the structure that we need to be asking, because we've all discovered now that you can ask the wrong questions of AI and it'll give you great answers for the wrong questions. You've actually gone and helped us in that first step, because I think you've developed a couple of tools to help it identify the correct way to move forward. Is that correct?
Yeah, there is a lot of ways to do that. On my website, linkvantage.com, I have a checklist, a profile optimization checklist for free that people can access to give them steps on how to make your profile look great, and avoid the mistakes that a lot of people typically make when optimizing the profile. So I think that's a good starting point, and let people have access to it. And you can go to my website, linkvantage.com/audit, and you can download it for free and no email required, which is great. So I don't want your email. I just want to give you your information and take advantage of it.
I love that. I love that it is actually available, because a lot of people will stop when you ask for the email and they will hesitate and not do it. But so you've removed that barrier for people to get that first contact. With the checklist, how long should a person be taking to update their profile? What's the process? Because like I said, a lot of business owners think they've got no time for this, but it's such an important tool that they could be using. So what kind of time would you say that an owner should be taking to update their profile?
Well, I think you shouldn't really rush into it. And like I said, it could be a work in progress, and focus on each section. So you want to make sure that it's correct and it represents who you are. And sometimes, again, even after you've done that, you should always update it at least every 3 months, because things change. People have different occupations or life changes, and always update it at that point. But I think, putting a lot of emphasis on, your profile is the essential before you do any outreach, because that really is going to make a difference. And once you have it optimized, then you can begin the outreach, and it makes it a lot easier, because when people connect with you, they can see that you're the person they want to work with, and you are somebody who can help them get results. And that's really what you want to do. So take the time to work on your profile and make sure that it represents the best of who you are. And if you don't have the time for it, then reach out to experts that can help you optimize your profile, so you can basically begin the process of, connecting with people on LinkedIn.
There's a couple of key points you mentioned there as well is two things. If you can elaborate a bit more on this. The first one is that your profile is a work in progress. And the second thing you mentioned is do it in stages, or keep reviewing it, because it's never going to be perfect. Can you just share a bit more about why it's important to do it in progressive steps, and think of it as an incomplete step?
Well, I guess if sometimes people change jobs, for example, they need to update it, and that certainly is a work in progress. Maybe they got an award recently. Maybe they did volunteer work. Anything that's going to be looked at as favorable is going to be something helpful for your profile. And most importantly, recommendations. If someone has used your services and can vouch for you, that's essential for any type of growth on the profile, because It's a third-party endorsement, and you can't get better than it. If you don't have any recommendations, well, you got to start immediately and reach out to people. And the best time to reach out to them is when they're most satisfied with your services. And sometimes it may not be immediately, but whoever you work with or connected with and they're happy with your work, ask for some kind words. I mean, people are willing to help other people out, and that's going to make a difference on your profile. What's great about those recommendations is that you can use it offline too on your website because they're real people. They're people that who actually are, not these fake names, whatever, but, who use your services, and they are on LinkedIn that you connect to, and they can vouch for you that you are who you say you are.
I think that recommendations on LinkedIn is probably an underutilized area that people tend to forget. I think it's sort of buried down the bottom of your profile or down the bottom of the screen, and a lot of people don't actually scroll down that far. How do you actually? So you talked about using those recommendations offline and using them to provide that social proof or that authority. What are some of the ways that we can improve the usage of those recommendations?
Well, very simple. There's a premium version of LinkedIn, I believe Navigator, they call it, and it allows you to put those recommendations up front and center in your featured section. So you can actually have those recommendations that are rolling the bottom, bring the best ones to the top right there, and they'll see that exactly in your featured section. So therefore, it'll get prominence, and people will basically look at that, much easier. And that's exactly one way to do that. And of course, if you have a website, you could certainly, take the information of LinkedIn and of that individual profile and put that testimonial on your website and have a link going from your website to LinkedIn to that individual's profile that they are a real person. So those are two examples right there that could help you get more recognition on LinkedIn with testimonials in the right place.
Yeah, no, I like that. And I love that tip there about linking back to the person giving the recommendation, their LinkedIn profile, to prove that they are a real person. Because I think these days we've become very skeptical about some of the testimonials appearing on websites that, is this a real person talking, or have they just used ChatGPT to create a bunch of testimonials to put on their website? But that authenticity is really important, because I think people want to know that there is some substance behind those recommendations. We talked about building personal brand and using LinkedIn, but there's a lot of discussion around how we can remain authentic by using AI. Now, you've used a lot of tools in your process. How do you make sure that you remain authentic when you're using AI?
Well, again, for me, AI is a tool that I use. Like you have the dictionary, you have a thesaurus, and this is just another thing that gives me ideas of topics that may be of value to people. And it comes up with, hundreds of topics that I can pick and choose from. And it can give me an outline of what to say, but then I put my own words into it because it's just really helping me. So LinkedIn, the AI is just like a helper, someone who's going to do the research for you, come up with trending topics, and then you just put your own information in there. And you can use services like Grammarly to kind of polish it up and make sure the editing looks good. The end result is that you're going to have a content that's going to be valuable to whoever you are reaching out to. I send out newsletters, 5 newsletters a week, and I use AI to help me come up with ideas for topics that will be helping with the pain points of these people who are reading the newsletters. So I offer value, and people are appreciative of it. And AI just helps make the ideas and concepts much easier to grasp. No more writer's block anymore. You've got information. There's no reason you can't access it if you take advantage of it.
So you've used it as a tool, and I think what we're hearing now is that the excitement about AI doing everything is sort of fading away, and people are now realizing it is a tool, and you've got to use that tool correctly, and you need to keep that personal touch, that authentic, the real you coming through. So using your words to, I guess, rephrase that suggested content or suggested idea, but remaining authentic. Now, look, 5 newsletters a week is quite a lot. A lot of business owners I talk to really get fearful about actually publishing a newsletter of any kind. But I know you've got 5 newsletters a week all coming through LinkedIn. How is that possible?
Well, LinkedIn allows you to do that is the maximum of newsletters that you can do with LinkedIn. And what's unique about the LinkedIn newsletters is that it has such a high authority. It actually goes directly, not just on LinkedIn, they'll get notified that the newsletter is posted, but you also get an email directly as well. And unique about it is that it goes right through the spam filters. It's like almost like a VIP, you get right through because LinkedIn has such a high authority that it simply allows you to get more incredible reach than you would if you sent it out directly from your own website as a newsletter. So for me, that is an invaluable service of LinkedIn.
Mm. Yeah, because I've noticed more and more newsletters coming via LinkedIn. And yeah, as you mentioned, I get the email from LinkedIn, so it's not going through my spam, not getting caught in spam. I'm getting the notifications from LinkedIn, and it's also there as a post in my feed when I go into LinkedIn. That's quite powerful, really.
Yeah, it's incredible the reach it has. And there's no reason why you can't be in touch with people once a week through your newsletter. As long as they find it valuable, they subscribe to it and they look forward to receiving it. And my newsletter grows, based on, the specialty that people are in. So that works out quite well.
Mm. I think I want to dive into this because I'm starting to get really excited about this idea. With the LinkedIn newsletter, you don't need to be a contact to that person to get their newsletter. You can just follow them instead, which means that you're not actually, that fear of giving over your email address and everything to that person and what else are they going to be sending me is sort of removed because you don't have to actually be connected. You can just follow that person to be able to access that newsletter. Would that be a fair assessment?
Well, a lot of people who follow them, they may not necessarily have a newsletter themselves. So if they have a newsletter, then you would subscribe to it. Like people who subscribe to my newsletter, I have over 3,000 followers, but I'd say maybe a third of them subscribe to my newsletter. So not everybody receives it. So, but as soon as I post it, it does go into my feed. So people are notified. Those who are subscribing to it, they'll get it, and that's something that is very valuable.
Mm. And with that newsletter, so there's been, I've heard a lot that LinkedIn is really about you, the individual. That's the key place that people will look. So with that newsletter, does that come from you personally or does that come via your company?
No, I mean, I write the newsletter and then I publish it. In fact, you can actually schedule it in advance, which is great. So they have a scheduling tool and then you just, write the newsletter and it'll go in at a certain time. In fact, that's also important too, is when you're going to post the newsletter. Ideally, you want to post Tuesdays through Thursdays, because that seems to be with the most traffic on LinkedIn. And I would say between the hours of 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and maybe in the afternoon from 2 to 4 are kind of a sweet spot for when people will actually read the newsletters. The other days don't seem to be as effective, I find.
Mm-hmm. Great. So, look, I've picked up a number of tips myself today in our conversation, which I'm pretty excited about and want to go and implement. You've mentioned the tool, the audit tool, at linkedvantage.com/audit. And we'll put the link to that in the show notes for everybody to go and follow that. I've already downloaded that tool. I've just started working through the process. You've also offered the book LinkedIn Advantage. What can our readers expect when they buy the book?
Well, it takes all of the insights that I have about using AI and LinkedIn, and it provides them a tool that can help them to optimize their profile, to work on ideas for outreach once it's done, and some of the tools that I've used, AI and technology, to things that I've enjoyed working with, like Perplexity I've used, and I would say Canva, of course, for graphics, and a few other ones that are really off the top. But I find that with technology always changing, I'm sure probably next year I'll come up with an updated version. This is the most latest technology, but it's really important that people read the book or listen to the audiobook to get an idea about how powerful that AI can help you save time on the platform, get you the connections you're looking for. And when you reach out to people, don't come out to them being spammy, but something of value when you connect with someone so they'll agree to connect with you, I think is important. So these are just some of the ideas I share.
Great. Yeah. So, okay. So the book's available online in bookstores. Encourage people to go and have a look at that, purchase the book, listen to the book, um, tap into Al's experience. He's gone through and he's done the trials, the testing. He's come up with the great methods, the best methods that work. Save time and take advantage of the work that Al's done and the knowledge and expertise that he's sharing with you. Go to the website, grab the audit tool, and also have a look at some of the other resources that Al's got. And look, if you're still stuck and you feel that you need help, reach out to Al and his team, and they would be delighted to help you improve your LinkedIn profile. Al, if there's one thing that you would encourage people to do with their LinkedIn profile, what would that be?
Get started today. Don't wait. Don't procrastinate, because that's something that I experienced myself, and it doesn't work. The fact is that you got to really decide now to get started with it. Take a look at your profile, get my optimization checklist, and begin, the process of optimizing it. Making sure that it looks good. If you haven't taken a recent headshot, well, go get one. All right, there's no excuse not to get it. Look at tools like Canva to work on your background image. These are small steps to take, but once you get it done, then you can begin, outreach and make quality connection. That's my advice.
Great. Fantastic. Thanks, Al, for your time today. You've shared some great tips, some great insights, and more importantly, why it's so important for business owners to have a optimized profile on LinkedIn to help them grow their business and make it more profitable and stronger. Al, thank you very much for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure. And you've shared some great tips with our audience. So thanks again.
Thank you, Paul.